Good evening, everybody. I just wanted to do a final evening check-in, let you know how our day went today for the primary election recount that happened today as a result of what was reported to the Secretary of State's office on last Tuesday for the 91st House District, was my district here and representing my district here in the city, the town of Hamden in the 5th district, as well as other parts of Hamden. So today we went over to the Hamden's Miller Library, and the count was supposed to start at 10 o'clock in the morning. We, the Lori Sweet team, I'm on her team because she's my at-large council person here in Hamden, of course. So I was on her team, and we all convened in the parking lot and just kind of started to brainstorm and talk about what the day was going to look like. And so when we got there, the attorney and everybody who was a part of the team came in and let us understand what to expect. This was my third recount that I was a part of, that I was actually witnessed. So I kind of had some idea, which was really good. So the day started out really normal. The only thing that was really not normal was when we walked in, the library was all kind of corded and taped off with caution tape, that we were not able to actually go and sit at each station where they were doing the count, which was a little different than what we did in previous counts, where we were allowed to actually go and, you would have a representative that would be assigned from the campaigns to go and observe, where they were only allowed to have the candidate and one other person. So fine, our team kind of hung back. We stood on the other side of the tape all day. So we got till about 2 o'clock. It went all day. Folks had lunch ordered and everything, and they were still counting. And like I said, hands off, hats off to all the poll workers and everybody who's there, because after they got finished doing the count and taking everything out and going through the whole count process and all the tallies were being made, everybody was kind of just sitting around waiting to see what had to be happening, what needed to happen next. Mr. Vining, who was running the head moderator for the day, was awesome. And he said, wait a minute, around 2:30 or 2 o'clock, he said the count was off. And there had to be some more ballots somewhere, but everything at that point had been counted. Well, someone, I'm not too sure, I don't know any of these people's names, but someone from the moderators, somebody from the moderators said, well, maybe they're in the garage. So all of us were looking around going, the garage. We didn't know what that meant, because I thought that ballots, when an election is over, the ballots have to go be in the custody of the town clerk. Well, apparently there's some garage, and this is for the 5th district. So we didn't know this until the ballots actually came back upstairs. So attached to the library, there's some building or some location where it's like, I guess, a storage portion of the building where Lori's team, her attorney, and everybody went down with the poll staff to the garage. And apparently, lo and behold, there was an envelope of ballots that had not been counted and wasn't included in the overall pile that came in the secured bags. So they opened up this pile, and it's the hand counted. There were the hand counted ballots from the 5th district, my district, where whatever, we don't know why or how it ended up over at the garage at the library and not in the vault at the town clerk's office. But thankfully, somebody thought to go look in the garage and storage unit or wherever to pull out this envelope of ballots that was not counted on last Tuesday. So when they were counted, it came in at a tie of 57 of these hand counted votes that in the 5th district, from most likely people who came and weren't able to do a regular ballot because they ran out. So they had to use these paper ballots. It just was chaos that day because of they ran out of ballots. So after this 114 ballots were counted, the final tally came in 947 votes for Lori Sweet, 932 for Jen Pope, and the election's over. The recount was in favor of Lori Sweet and her team. So Lori Sweet wins the 91st House seat. What I find really amazing, and what I'll continue to find amazing out of this whole process is, according to the legal team, that there was a lot of things that seemed really weird. And we always said that the count, I mean, I said that earlier on last week during my check-in. I was like, these numbers that I was given in my district on Tuesday night didn't match anything with what looked like it was reported to the Secretary of State's office. And then we find out that they were down in the garage at the library. So that's why they weren't counted in the count that went to the Secretary of State's office on election night at 10:45 or 10:30 in the evening, in the afternoon, or whenever they sent they reported it to the Secretary of State's office. I think that going forward, my recommendation to anybody who runs for office anywhere ever is that you exercise your right under the statute to have assigned members of your campaign to sit and monitor the election from the inside, because we are allowed to send a list of names to the registrar of voters prior to an election and say, these are the people that would like to just be able to come and observe the election as it's going on. Because I think that would have helped. I think that there was a lot of chaos in the 5th district. They ran out of ballots twice. The poor ladies over there tried to do their best. The people were coming in. They were mad because they couldn't vote. And they took time off to come down and vote. Now they're being told they can't because they're out of ballots. I just think it was chaos. And for whoever was responsible to supply the amount of ballots, the blank ballots to the district, somehow that affected the numbers and the counts that came out of the 5th district. And I'm very happy. I'm happy that we all sat through from 9 o'clock this morning to 3 o'clock this evening to get to the bottom of every single vote being counted. And we were able to watch from afar, not right up on top of people. We did have representatives that were there while the folks were counting, but by and large, all of us, including me, were behind the tape, and we were, far enough away to see that they were counting, but we couldn't see what they were counting. I think everybody needs to have an observer inside the polls, because this way, if things erupt into chaos for whatever reason, you have your monitors in there that can actually be present and witness what's happening. I'm very happy that every vote that did come in and were cast in the 5th district were counted. And I'm very sad and angry that the people who did show up to the polls in the 5th district on August 13th, and there wasn't any ballots, and they were on their way back with copies, and that their voices weren't heard. I think that's a travesty. I don't know how we fix it. I don't know what in the process has to happen so that you can have enough blank ballots in a location when people show up to vote. I don't even know what that looks like, but I certainly hope going forward that problem gets resolved, because it doesn't make any sense that in 2024 that people came to the Board of Education building here in Hamden in the 5th district and basically had to go back home or go back to work or wherever, because they couldn't stand around and wait for folks to show up with copies, because it wasn't fair to them. We announced an election. We should expect that when we get there's enough ballots for everybody to vote. And it just needs to happen. And we'll never know who and how and when that envelope of ballots found its way over to the garage and not in their appointed location. So I'm sure we'll continue to talk about this in the coming months. I'm going to talk and ask whoever is willing to come on and talk about this to talk about it more. I don't know. We don't, where else is this kind of stuff happening that you have to find ballots all over the place? I don't even know. But they came for Lori Sweet's kids on various pages. They talked about how her kids go to a private school, yet they don't even understand that Lori's husband works at the damn school. That's why her kids go there. They don't go there because they're rich and they're sending their kids to private school. They go to that school because their father works there. But nobody bothered to put that on Pan. They wanted to sit around and burn her down and then put her kids' safety in jeopardy, because now everybody knows where her kids go to school. No one ever on the Hamden Action Now page or on my own personal page or any page I got anywhere on social media did anyone say anything about Jen Pope's children. And you know why we didn't? because that was none of our damn business, because those kids were not running for office. The parents were, the mothers. And it didn't make any sense. I mean, the trash talking about people's kids in private school versus sending your kids. What is that? Is that the new liberal talk now? Oh, we're good rich people because we send our kids to public school. I don't care where you send your kids. If you are a recipient of privilege, it doesn't matter where your kids in private school, homeschool, or public school. But the way that Lori Sweet was handled, and then the way my district was handled, where you ran out of ballots, blank ballots twice, and then miraculously ballots show up in some garage somewhere. I mean, you can't even make it up. You can't make it up. And right now people are accusing me of not, oh, you should still be angry. I am angry. I am very angry that Mr. Vining had to find our ballots for our district. Our people's voices over here in the South and the Hampden were in some garage somewhere and not in their appointed location where they're supposed to be. All right. That's what I'm angry about. I'm angry that this would have been over on last Tuesday if everybody's vote was counted properly and appropriately and not from some garage somewhere. This would have been over because the 15-point spread would have not triggered a recount. But guess what? Thank God it did. Because you know what? We will never know why they got down there and how. But thank God the voices of the people of the 5th district had their voices heard. Finally, and they have spoken. But the stuff that went on where we have our mayor and our townspeople and everybody over here taking pictures back in February and March, campaigning with Jen Pope. Whatever happened to the Democratic Party staying out of a Democratic primary until the voters have spoken? Whatever happened to that? I mean, I got a mailer sitting here, right here, with everybody's face on it. From Martin Looney all the way down to George Cabrera. That was okay too, though, right? Everything was good. Everything was acceptable. You burnt down people's family for a house seat? I mean, it was off the charts. Off the charts. I mean, off the charts. So I'm very happy that those ballots, my district people voice were heard. I'm so happy. I'm more happy than I've ever been in a long time, because if those voices had stayed in that damn garage and that their selection for the representative for the 91st district was not sent up and this was never discovered, just imagine that. Just imagine the travesty of that. That small envelope of 114 ballots would never have been found. Just imagine what that would have looked like. I just want to say we will continue to have these conversations, because I think that this is a conversation that needs to be had all over the state of Connecticut. Everybody needs to be aware what happens to your ballot after you put it in that little machine and you leave. Because guess what? You don't get a receipt. You don't get a printout. You don't get anything. So you have to entrust it to a system. And we're going to talk more about the system and what happened versus what is supposed to happen in the coming days. But I really want to say thank you so much to Lori Sweet and her family and all that they endured. Her husband got trash talked. Her kids got trash talked. Their school got trash talked. All of us got trash talked, all up and down social media. So I'm very happy that the voices of the people of South Hampden were finally heard. Thank you so much. And I really look forward to more conversations with everybody in the town of Hampden and around the state on, can you just tell me what happens after you take that ballot and put it in that machine? Where does it go? Whose custody is it in? And how can you go back and figure it out? What happened to your ballot and where's your vote? Have a great evening.